The socio-economic impact of the pandemic will push many poor households to desperate measures just to survive. Children could end up facing an increased risk of child labor, sexual exploitation, perhaps even child marriage, as families struggle to feed their families. The COVID-19 pandemic could turn into a serious child rights crisis as hundreds of thousands of the most vulnerable children get potentially exposed to a dangerous mix of extreme poverty, malnutrition and hunger as a result of the virus. World Vision India is closely working with state governments and the district administration to provide people with basic essentials during this lockdown. And we at NDTV feel very, very proud to be associated with this cause. This telethon is called Together with Children Towards a Hunger-Free India. Pranoy Roy and Nidhi Kulpati with us as well.
You're spot on, Vishnu. It is great to be working with World Vision, a global organization looking after children. And you know, the new lockdown that we're going to face again, we've just been announced. There's a lot of data that supports the fact that we needed it, that we could not completely get out of a lockdown yet. In fact, there is data that shows a second spike could be just about starting in many states. And that's because so many people are moving from one state to another. They've been in very close proximity. They've been infecting each other. Many of the new cases, for example, in Bihar, are because of the enormous number of migrants who've come in there. And migrants, I'm not just talking about people walking, migrants from the Middle East, migrants from England, migrants from one city to another who are going in Rajdhani and in cars. People who are migrating, it's not a derogatory term, it's people who are moving. Let's not ever treat it as a derogatory term. They are guests of one state or the other, like all of us. And if you ask me, okay, we've had a great success with our lockdown. It was important, it's proven to be right. The R rate, which we shall talk about later at some point, the reinfection rate has gone down considerably, but it started going up when movement started. And while we've been a success in the lockdown, it's been a disastrous policy when it has not been thought through the implications of our people walking hundreds, thousands of miles just to survive, because they've not been given any reassurance. What is the government, or any government, I'm not talking about centre, states, anybody, what are our political leaders doing? This is the time to reach out, give money to the poorest of the poor directly and help them, and make sure they don't feel insecure and have to walk hundreds and thousands of miles. But most heart-rending is to see them walking with little children. Those little children are the saddest sight and really a condemnation of how we feel in our society for our children. It makes you really want to weep. And they're just forgotten. They're not numbered, they don't have Aadhaar cards. They are really being forgotten. So being together with children, I think this is the most important lesson to highlight today. And I'm so glad that we're doing this with World Vision, and it is just crucial to be made a headline. Our children, let's not forget them.
और अगर मैं बच्चों की तरफ से चंद लाइनें बोलूं, छोटी छोटी हथेलियों में चावल थमा दो तो जानो, इन्हें थाम के कुछ हौसला दे तो जानो, कोई खींच ना ले इन्हें बंधुआ की तरह, या दबा ना दे एक दरिंदे की तरह, या ब्याह दे गरीबी हो वजह। छोटी छोटी हथेलियों में खाना दो तो जानो, इन्हें थाम के भूख मिटा दो तो जानो। तो आइए इस मुहिम को आगे बढ़ाते हैं, उस कार्यक्रम में आगे बढ़ते हैं।
And what we can tell you is that the funds which we hope to raise as a result of this venture will be directly benefiting lakhs of people in this country potentially. What World Vision India is trying to do is organize hygiene kits. Now, what do these hygiene kits consist of? 3-layered face masks, sanitary pads, soap, hand sanitizer. These are basic items. And in addition to that, there are also nutrition kits. We are speaking about hunger today, but it's nutrition kits and hygiene kits. What do the nutrition kits actually have? Well, they've got wheat flour, they've got rice, oil, salt, dal, chili powder, and turmeric and coriander powder. Something basic to enable people to get some basic food. I think a wonderful way to start off this program is by introducing a 14-year-old prodigy. Lydian Nadeshwaram is a remarkable pianist, one of the best that you will see or hear anyway. Lydian, thank you so much for being with us. What do you have to say about this cause when we are trying to ensure that young children don't go hungry? What are your thoughts?
I think we should just stay safe. Yeah, that's it.
And absolutely, safety comes to a great extent through ensuring that children are not going hungry. Can you play something for us to share, perhaps convey or share your emotions, your feelings on this cause?
Yeah, sure.
बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया लिडियन आपका। और बच्चे हमेशा में मुस्कुराने की वजह हम सबके लिए बनते हैं। अब आइए सीधे आपको 12 साल के आरव वर्मा के पास ले चलते हैं। जब ये 3 साल के थे तब से पेंटिंग कर रहे हैं और अब जिस तरह से टेलीथॉन 2 घंटे चलेगा, आरव लगातार हमारे लिए एक पेंटिंग बनाएंगे और देखेंगे 2 घंटे के अंत में कि ये पेंटिंग कैसी लगती है। आरव, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया अपना समय देने के लिए। आपको कैसा लग रहा है जो हम बच्चों के लिए खास भूख मुक्त भारत की बात कर रहे हैं, आज क्या मन में विचार हैं आपके?
First of all, I'm blessed to have a family who is able to feed me. Hi, my name is Arav and I'm 13 years old. I'm thankful to NDTV and World Vision India to provide me this platform and help and support children of our nation. I've heard good and bad times, but I've never seen a pandemic which has affected the globe. Even in this situation, many of us are very privileged to be sitting safe at our homes, whereas there are millions who are struggling to get one meal a day. And being an artist, it is my responsibility to use my skills and save the lives of our children. As the COVID-19 pandemic shows every possible potential to turn into a serious child right crisis, where so many poor children could face the danger of child labor, sexual exploitation, human trafficking and whatnot as a struggle to feed their families. To help such prevent inhuman acts, today I would be converting my artistic skills for the welfare of the children and our nation. Please come join me in this initiative by NDTV and World Vision India together with children. Hunger Free India.
All right, Arav, I think that's absolutely fantastic, and we would encourage all our viewers, people watching this program, to think about purchasing what will be a fantastic piece of art by that young prodigy over there. We're joined at this stage by Cherian Thomas. He's the regional leader, Asia Pacific, of World Vision International. Great to speak to you, and it's just wonderful to be collaborating with you on this project. There's so much to discuss about hunger and children and the pandemic right now, and how it all comes together. Now, there have been troubling reports about child abuse being on the rise at this time. Can you tell us about some of the efforts that you're involved in trying to stop this?
So what we have done is right at the beginning, together with a few other INGOs, written to the Prime Minister and several other ministers in this government, as well as to state chief ministers, highlighting the fact that this is going to be a critical problem. And I think the 1098, that number which is there for Childline, we also had suggested that this could be a helpline which could be used during the COVID crisis. We understand that there is a higher traffic into this line, but it is too early to figure out in terms of whether there is any actual increase at the moment in the actual cases happening itself. But clearly messaging has gone out in all the communities that child rights organizations work in. We would prepare our children, we would prepare the communities for situations like this. So one component of our response to the COVID crisis itself has been prevention, and therefore preventive messaging is something that has gone out in all the communities that we work in. This of course would supplement the efforts of governments and child protection agencies in this area.
Cherin Thomas, Pranoy here. It's really great that you joined us, and I'm just in awe of the kind of work you people do on the ground. In fact, it's so moving. You just heard Lydian and Arav. I mean, this is our future, the talent of our children in India, and it's all being snuffed out by well, partly the pandemic and partly us not looking after our children and making them last in the line and forgetting about them. But tell me, you worked on so many difficult parts of looking after the youngest and the poorest in our society. But this pandemic must have changed the whole scale of what you do. How have you changed your whole methods and operation and outlook and handling children now under these conditions?
Thanks, Pranoy. I think you've been very kind, and thank you so much.
No, not at all kind. I meant every word. You are just amazing, the work you do, and it gets everybody a little emotional actually talking about it.
Yes, thank you so much for that. Yes, there is the element of the heart, which is very much part of the work that we do. And equally, there is the element of the mind. And sometimes this is what we have to bring together. So what is really very different about this crisis, and as World Vision, we have handled so many different crises. We've been working in India right from 1951 onwards. In 58 we set up our office. In 76 we set up World Vision India. So we've been here for close to 70 years in this country. We have seen different kinds of disasters in which we have been involved. To just look at a sample of some of the disasters that we've been involved right from the time in the 50s and 60s when there were famines, when there are floods, when there are earthquakes, whether it's the Gujarat earthquake, whether it's the Latur earthquake, whether it was a tsunami in 2004, floods in Chennai in 2015, and that happened right very close to where we have our national office. The Kashmir floods in 2014, Uttarakhand in 2013, Kerala floods 2018 and 19. All these in one sense are a little different because they are a little more localized, and there is a limited area of impact. What has happened in this crisis is that the area of impact has suddenly expanded, and it is across the country that we have to act, and there are no safe spaces, there is no safe haven. The second difference is the fact that there is a lockdown and movement is restricted. So our own staff and aid workers themselves have a challenge in being able to move out. And so how do we respond? And that is where technology comes in. We've been finding the use of mobile phones, the use of social media, very, very useful as part of this process. Rather than sometimes have our staff go, because there are limited passes that are often available for people to go, we work with volunteers, we work with partners. Now this again is complicated because ultimately we are putting them at risk. The volunteers who are our extended arms in the community, community and our partners who work with us, we need to make sure that they are well trained, they have the protection that they need,
Right.
And so it really puts a high degree of responsibility on us. And so being innovative, creative, and trying to adjust to
what you mentioned is so important, the importance of innovation. So we'll come to you in just a moment from now, but we've got a fantastic guest who joins us now. And we are so privileged to have him on the
बिल्कुल
program.
मधुर भंडारकर हमारे साथ है, फिल्म डायरेक्टर, प्रोड्यूसर। मधुर जी, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया। हम बच्चों की अगर आज बात कर रहे हैं, आपने ट्रैफिक सिग्नल जैसी एक फिल्म बनाई, आप खुद एक इंस्पिरेशन रहे। एक समय में आप कैसेट्स डिलीवर करते थे। क्या आपको लगता है हमारे बच्चे इस समय उनको जरूरत है कि कोई उनका हाथ थाम के उनको सही राह पर आगे ले जाए या उनकी मदद करे इस समय?
मेरे ख्याल से इस वक्त सब लोग को साथ देना चाहिए, खास करके जो बच्चे है लेबर है, वो ऐसे सिचुएशन में, ऐसे स्थिति में हम सबको, चाहे वो सिविल सोसाइटी हो, चाहे एनजीओ हो, चाहे वो राज्य सरकार हो, हम सबको एक साथ आना चाहिए और बच्चों को खास करके, चाहे कि उनका एक्सप्लॉयटेशन या अब्यूज या किसी तरह का वायलेंस उन बच्चों के साथ ना हो।
Mr. Bhandarkar, you've made some of the older children who actually do participate on film sets in Bollywood itself. Their hands, additional hands towards the production of films. They are often daily wagers. They often come from a tough background. How difficult is it for them to be surviving this pandemic, this crisis?
Yeah, absolutely, Vishnuji. I think the film fraternity and the production people and all the federation people, from the producer side, from the direction guild, everybody is taking care for the kids, and especially who the talent who are working over there. The film production house, I mean to say the guild and the IFDA, they all taking, and the artists association also involved with it. They all taking care. We are seeing not only kids, we are definitely looking for the technician people, whoever the people are involved with who daily wages people, like you said, who are involved day to day thing. They are being taken care because it is very necessary in such situation. You require them to give day to day food or whatever necessity they want over there. It is very much essential over there. So it has been definitely taken care in the film industry.
Madhurji, that's fantastic to hear, and you remain such an inspiration for so many people. Your own background and where you were as a child, what you did, and where you are now. That's such an incredible story. Thanks, sir, very much for being with us. Joining us now, Dr. P.V. Ramanamurthy, the Executive Vice President and Global Head of Human Resources at the Indian Hotels Company Limited. Thanks very much for being with us. It's been so heartening to see how civil society has responded to the situation. What is the role of corporates and what has been the role of your group?
Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks for having me on this show today, Dr. Roy. I think that, the situation is unprecedented. As you rightly said earlier, this is something related to the heart. Whether individuals or corporates or society as a whole, we all need to join hands together and support the crisis situation. I think that, to answer your question, what we have done, I can answer this in two ways. One is, in the short term, when the crisis broke out, what did we do? And what have we been doing to take care of the longer term, to address the needs of the children, to ensure that they are provided with employability and employment. So to begin with the shorter term, I think that, what we have done immediately is supplying food to the medical fraternity, the migrant labor, and then the police personnel. We started doing this from March 23rd onwards. And also, I want to say that, I don't want to take any credit individually or as an organization. As a group, you would be knowing it actually, Sir Jamsetji Tata, when he started this group, he said something like, it's in a free enterprise, the community is not just another stakeholder in business, it is the very purpose of its existence. So that's how we have been operating. And that's where, when this whole crisis started, we thought of supplying food, and that's what we have been doing. I'm glad to say that there is a lot more opportunity to do much more. But I think that I'm glad to say that at this point in time, we have supplied 1.5 million food distribution, and it is on daily basis, morning and evening. Our employees have been working at TajSATS, our air catering service, and this is what we have been doing to take care of the hunger.
I mean, those sort of numbers are just amazing. I just want to repeat something which Vishnu said, and I think you also agree with that, and that is, it is heartening to see civil society in India really responding to this. You know, when we look back on this, we might find India, the people of India, the business community and the corporates reacted better than many other countries. It's wonderful.
Absolutely.
And amongst that, I know you don't like to talk about it, that's typical of the Tata Group, but Tatas and Taj and the numbers you've just mentioned are absolutely amazing. Many, many congratulations. And just one extra thing, if I can ask you, a little extra focus on the people we tend to forget, the children.
Yeah, so that's where, you know, I was talking about the longer term. See, it's like this, you know, the framework with which we have been operating. It's something like this, you know, it is about skilling, employability, employment, and livelihoods. And we operate these skill training centers. You know, we at this point in time, Indian Hotels, in partnership with Tata Strive. Tata Strive was formed in 2016, and even before that, we have been working with the NGOs to skill the youth. And when we skill them, what happens is that they become employable, and many of those people join our own organization, and many others join some other organizations, also the hospitality group. And Tata Strive works not just around hospitality related skills, but it also focuses on many other vocational courses. You know, it could be electrical course or mechanical or welding, and many other 14 sectors were covered under that. And coming back to Indian Hotels and what we have been doing around this area, so once we take up these 10 pass students and train them up, we have several different programs, you know, within the organization and in partnership with other institutes. For example, there is a program called Golden Threshold Program. People who complete their Tata IHCL Strive program, they can join the Golden Threshold Program, which we run with Tata Institute of Social Sciences. It's a 3-year-long program, a vocational program. And once that happens, you know, again, they can join us. And during this period of education, we also give them the stipend, and they get trained up in our hotels. You know, this is the on-the-job training which we provide.
Ji.
The point I'm trying to make here is that when we provide this kind of skills and make them employable, getting employment opportunities would be much higher, and taking care of their livelihood also is much more easier.
बिल्कुल, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया मिस्टर मूर्ति। और वाकई में बहुत ज़रूरी है कि जो हमारे युवा हैं, 10वीं पास हैं, उनको स्किल ट्रेनिंग दी जाए तो रोजगार उनको आगे मिलेगा। बहरहाल इस समय बहुत अच्छी खबर आपको दे दी। वी हैव द फर्स्ट ऑफ अ बिग डोनेशंस कमिंग इन एट दिस पॉइंट। अ कॉर्पोरेट बॉडी हैज डोनेटेड ओवर 19 lakhs. The organization wishes to remain anonymous, so thank you for your generous contribution, and we hope to see many more such donations coming in through the evening. और आइए अब सीधे आपको मुंबई ले चलते हैं, हिना के पास ले चलते हैं। हिना आप छोटी बच्ची है, HIV से जूझ रही है। हिना, आप हमारे साथ जुड़ी हैं, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया समय निकालने के लिए। क्या परेशानियां आपको झेलनी पड़ रही हैं, आप साझा कीजिए हमसे, बात कीजिए।
एक्चुअली अभी तो हमारी कंडीशन बहुत खराब है। खाने मीन्स राशन का थोड़ा बहुत प्रॉब्लम आ रहा है। ऊपर से मेडिसिन के लिए हम लोग जा नहीं पा रहे, ट्रीटमेंट के लिए हम लोग जा नहीं पा रहे, उसके लिए बहुत सारी प्रॉब्लम्स आ रही है।
जी, आप जी
के मतलब हम लोग को हॉस्पिटल में जाने के लिए अभी रूटीन के लिए भी खर्चे के लिए कुछ नहीं है।
हाँ हिना, वाकई में आप इस समय बहुत मुश्किल के दौर से गुजर रही हैं और आप कह रही हैं कि आप अस्पताल नहीं जा पा रही हैं। उम्मीद करेंगे कि आपकी राह आगे आसान होगी। बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया हमसे बात करने के लिए। और ऐसे ही बच्चों की हम कोशिश कर रहे हैं मदद करने की, और हिना के नंबर हमारे पास हैं, उन तक पहुंचेंगे, उनको हम मदद पहुंचाएंगे। विष्णु, आइए आगे बढ़ते हैं। ऋतु कुमार फैशन डिजाइनर हमारे साथ मौजूद हैं। ऋतु जी, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया इस टेलीथॉन के साथ जुड़ने के लिए, इस मुहिम के लिए। आपने अपना समय दिया है और आपको दर्शकों को बता दें कि ऋतु कुमार की एक क्विल्ट और कुशन्स हैं जो आप लोग ले सकते हैं और एक तरह से वो डोनेशन कंट्रीब्यूशन के तौर पे जाएगा इस टेलीथॉन में। ऋतु जी, not many people know that the textile trade is the second largest employer in India after agriculture. Millions of craftsmen in India are in deep distress at this time. Just must be unfolding in front of your eyes. What can you do to ensure that they are looked after?
Well, it is a very rare phenomena that you have brought this up, because very few people really are understanding the fact that it's the biggest employer after agriculture. Now, my area has really been the handicraft parts of it, the handlooms, the hand embroideries, etc. They don't constitute the full amount of the second largest employer, but the last estimate was we have about 16 million people employed just in hand textiles. It's actually the size of a small country. Now, when I started working with my karigars, they were always in a fairly beautiful setup in the village. The children there were working with their parents like a guild, and they would go to school but come back and put a few hours on the addas with the embroidery or with the weaving, and it was really not ghettoized the way the work has happened now. Now, most of these people are now back home, but unfortunately there is no work. Now, the lockdown has produced another set of circumstances where these people have no way of getting to any place which can provide them incomes. Their work in itself is so complex that it cannot bear any rents, it cannot bear the malls. It has to be, as I've spoken many times and also written about it, is that it has to be looked at as a startup, and the government or whoever it is should be able to invest in this sector. I'm sure it's going to be lucrative, but we have to take the middleman out. Otherwise, these children are going to end up as slave labor in wretched circumstances in the urban areas.
But actually, you're so right, and you know, I mean, we are seeing that textile sector is still so relevant globally, and that Bangladesh is doing so well, and we should, you know, are we getting left behind a little? But more than just the textile sector, what I wanted to ask you was that in all your artistic, everybody knows what a wonderful designer you are, but you also have a heart, and that only comes from one factor, and that is many years living in Calcutta, right? And so this must affect your heart, your Calcutta heart, terribly, seeing the children of your workers in such a bad state.
Well, you know, I have to bring this up because I think very many people don't realize it. We are the only country where we have handicrafts left. All the other countries in the world follow a handwriting which comes from the ramps in Europe, and they follow that. If yellow is the color, they all wear yellow. If the green is so on, so forth. In our country, we have about 16 million people who are every day related to their textile work. While most countries, all these have gone into museums, something to look at, but not something to use and wear. Now, this is a USP of this country. We need to not look at the Bangladeshis who are exporting, because that's a mechanical process. I would say, let us look at this made in India, which is totally handmade, and it is very specialized, and the world is coming to us for it because it doesn't exist anywhere else. If these children who have the DNA of this craft are left to become, you know, carry loads on their head, or become cycle workers or whatever, it would really be a pity.
No, it really would. It genuinely would. And I just want to say at this stage that to bid for Ritu Kumar's Jamawar collection, you can call in at 011-415-77789. I'll repeat that number, 011-415-77789. The auction base price is 50,000 rupees, and the money raised from this sale will go to the cause of hungry children. So please, please, please do step in with your contribution. Now, Sonu Sood, the actor, model and producer, joins us next. He is, most importantly, played the important role of his life during this crisis by donating to various funds, giving his hotel in Juhu for health workers to stay close to the hospital, organizing buses so that migrant labor from Mumbai can return to their home, various states, other parts of the country. Thanks very much for being with us, Sonu. Now, you've done so much for migrants, arranging buses, even offering your hotels. What is it that moved you to make this contribution, to get in there and help?
Of course, the whole lockdown has been an eye-opener for everyone. And I remember, I had seen few clips, few videos which were on the social media where a lot of people were not letting the doctors, the nurses get into their societies. They were fighting for their safety. But I totally believe that doctors are, and especially all these paramedical staff, are the only ones who are standing like a wall between this virus and a common man. So if you don't respect them, if you don't give them enough what they want, you can't save people from dying. So I have a hotel in Juhu where you have lots of hospitals around, and a lot of people travel to different parts of Mumbai, and a lot of time they lose because of their travel, and they don't get enough time to rest. So I just thought that why not give the hotel to these paramedical staff, where they can come, stay, rest, eat, and again report back to their duties, and they can be on their toes for more number of hours.
But if there was one thing you could ask the government to do for migrants and their children, what would that be?
If I would like to say one thing which I would request the government to do is that let these people reach their homes with less of complications. They have to fill the forms, they have to get the permissions from the ward, from police station, then the collector from the other state has to grant permission if they can come to their homes or not. So the whole process is so tedious for even people like us. If we try to pull some strings and make them go to their homes, it's not possible. I struggled a lot to get permissions from Karnataka government when we had sent 10 buses. We're trying for Telangana. Telangana is not accepting people from Maharashtra. Then I'm trying for UP, Bihar, Jharkhand, Uttarakhand, Orissa, West Bengal. Most of the states, it's very, very difficult because they're not letting people from Maharashtra come to their states because they feel that this is an affected state and that will create chaos there also. This is, I would say, a sad state, but I wish we would have planned earlier for more of resources where, a healthcare system would have been better to save a lot of lives. But I think this is an eye-opener, and I would request all the governments, to come forward and help, people from their states so they can reach back to their loved ones.
Well, one certainly hopes that they do finally get to their loved ones. Thank you so much for your contribution and being there. Well, joining us now, somebody who's doing incredible work himself, and I know this firsthand, Chandan Mendirata, the head of Zomato Feeding India. And I'll tell you why I know this firsthand. A couple of weeks back, there was a magician named Rahman from Katputli colony here in Delhi saying that they were daily wage workers. In this one colony in Delhi, there were 40 families who weren't fed. I didn't know what to do. I spoke to a few people in the government, and then Chandan got in touch with me and said, look, I'm here to help. Give me the address. And for several weeks, 2 consecutive lockdown periods, 40 families in Katputli colony were in fact fed. Chandan, what made Zomato and all your workers contribute at a difficult time like this?
So, good evening everyone. Thank you for calling me here. Zomato Feeding India has been in place for 6 years, and we work for the mission of solving for hunger. During the COVID lockdown, we realized that a lot of daily wager communities are affected because of the lockdown, and they cannot go out and they do not have jobs right now. we realized that we, in our position, we can raise funds and support these families with ration kits. We very categorically went with ration kits because a ration kit could feed a family of 5. It's a more reliable source of food. And we raised a campaign just 2 days prior to the lockdown was announced. Because we work with children who go to many NGO partners for education. We support them with daily nutrition, daily cooked food. And we realize that these children are not coming to these centers for education. We realize that soon there could be a possibility of a lockdown and the country would come to a standstill. So we launched this campaign, Feed the Daily Wager, where we started raising funds and procuring ration kits in various cities of the country. I'd be happy to announce that in last 1.5 months, we have operationalized 5,75,000 ration kits across 120 cities.
That's amazing.
Which corresponds to roughly 6 crore meals.
6 crore meals. That's just an incredibly large number. And thank you so much for being over there in a difficult situation like this, where the economy is affecting so many and so many companies as well. But that contribution is huge. Nidhi?
बिल्कुल सब अपनी तरफ से कुछ ना कुछ कर रहे हैं। संजीव कपूर, फेमस शेफ, हमारे साथ मौजूद हैं। कपूर, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद संजीव जी जुड़ने के लिए। हमारे देश में एक बहुत बड़ा तबका है बच्चों का जिनको जो खाना है वो ज़्यादा पोषक नहीं है। क्या आपके जहन में ख्यालात इस समय, और जो ये मुहिम जिसमें हम बात कर रहे हैं, किस तरह से हमारे जो बच्चे हैं उन तक पौष्टिक खाना पहुंचाया जा सकता है?
सबसे पहले नमस्कार। जाहिर सी बात है कि हमारे यहाँ पे मैल न्यूट्रिशन जो है वो काफ़ी ज़्यादा, और ऐसे हालात में वो थोड़ा और बढ़ जाता है, क्योंकि जो लोग शायद पहले से अफेक्टेड नहीं थे उनके चांसेस अब हो सकते हैं, बिकॉज सिर्फ अवेलेबिलिटी की वजह से, काम की अवेलेबिलिटी की वजह से ऐसा हो सकता है। तो इस समय तो मैं कहूँगा कि बहुत सारी चीज़ें जो हैं वो ना करने के बजाय जो बेसिक नेसेसिटीज़ हैं उस पर पौष्टिकता जो है, जो प्रोटीन की ज़रूरत है वो हमारे यहाँ पे कार्बोहाइड्रेट एंड प्रोटीन बेसिक अगर हम कहें तो फोर्टिफाइड राइस, उसके साथ साथ जो दाल है उसका राशन, और उसको बनाने के लिए अगर तेल, और उसके साथ में जो आसपास कोई भी जहाँ पे लोग रह रहे हैं वहाँ पे जो सब्जियाँ उग रही हैं अगर वो भी किसी तरह से पहुँचाई जा सके। और मेरे ख्याल से दी ओनली वे टू डू दैट इज दैट इफ वी कैन एक्टिवेट ऑल ऑफ अस, मतलब एक तरह से इट हैज टू बिकम अ चेन रिएक्शन। वन इज कि एक कुछ लार्ज ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस विल कीप ऑन डूइंग, लाइक आई नो एनडीटीवी इज जॉइनिंग हैंड्स विद वर्ल्ड विजन इंडिया to feed the kids. I think जो राशन की किट्स हैं, but I think more importantly all of us have to become ambassadors for nutrition for kids. I think that's one role that we will have to play, not just today, not just tomorrow, but for months to come, because it is not something that we say that it is linked to lockdown. We don't say it's linked to something which is temporary. So we will have to look at this in a more sustained manner. So all of us have to become nutrition ambassadors and start impacting our area of influence through our communication, through our actual food, through kits and whatever we could do.
Right.
We have to bring that to top of mind recall हमें करना पड़ेगा, and I think that's the only way to move the needle, I would say.
बिल्कुल, आप सब सही कह रहे हैं कि किस तरह से इस पे फोकस हमारा रहना चाहिए। संजीव जी, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया अपना समय देने के लिए। हम सबको जिस तरह से आपने कहा, एक तरह से एम्बेसडर के तौर पर काम करना चाहिए, और जो बच्चे हैं, जो भी हमें सड़क पे भी अगर बच्चे मिल रहे हैं तो उनको पोषक खाना हम ज़रूर दें। बहरहाल, आइए आगे बढ़ते हैं। डॉक्टर प्रीथा रेड्डी, एग्जीक्यूटिव वाइस चेयरपर्सन अपोलो हॉस्पिटल ग्रुप, हमारे साथ मौजूद हैं। बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया डॉक्टर रेड्डी। What are your biggest concerns right now regarding the children, especially the ones who are needy?
The children are our wealth of tomorrow, and the situation has really been disastrous for the young and for the children in India. And I think every Indian has to come forward to do something for them. Children need nutrition first, they need education, and then of course they need, health. I think these are the three things which we have to do. We as an organization have provided a lot of screening and nutrition in terms of vitamin for the children, and we've completed almost about 150,000. But what really makes me feel good is that all the children in the family, you know, my 2 daughters-in-law, my niece, they've teamed up with NGOs, and each one of them with using technology, getting crowdfunding, raising money. They have fed over 200,000-300,000 families, especially those with children. These wonderful kits which you have been showing, they have put together kits. They have teamed up with hoteliers, people running cloud kitchens, and you know, they've reached food in remote locations. I had a call from a lady in you know, somewhere in Gujarat. She's pretty far away, and we live in Chennai. But these kids got together and saw to it that 300 families had rations for a whole week. My daughter Tanya did this for daughter-in-law did it for me, and I'm so proud of them that they could do it. My other daughter-in-law Ishani, of course, is consistently feeding children and old age homes. So every day from our home, from our garage, with all her resources, she's put together, it goes again.
So, Dr. Reddy, सॉरी डॉक्टर रेड्डी, इम्यूनिटी भी बच्चों की बनी रहे और उनका जो कुपोषण है, मैलन्यूट्रिशन, वो ना हो, उस लिहाज से क्या आप सुझाव दे सकते हैं?
So this is what we're trying to do. You know, healthcare providers understand immunity. We have to work with those who produce drugs, those who produce vitamins, and see that it reaches the children on time. And we've put together a network within the Apollo system, those who are not in the Apollo system, to work with pharma companies to see that these really reach those children, because I think they need to build up their immunity, and we know that, you know, vitamin B12, that if we give them vitamin D, things like vitamin B complex, all these things will help children really fight the dangers of, you know, things like this virus. Even good clean drinking water is a challenge. So I think to build immunity, we all have to come together even more and try and see that a lot of our time goes in reaching out to those who need it, and especially the children who need it.
All right, Dr. Reddy, thank you so much for being with us. We are joined at this stage by Dr. Shikha Sharma, nutritionist and holistic health coach. Great to have you on the program. Now, you've heard a little bit about the kits that we are looking at over here. There's a hygiene kit and there's a nutrition kit as well. How do you believe these kits can have, and already are in fact having, a huge impact on the people that they are targeting, among them children?
Yes. See, the most important thing which we have to understand is that at this point, the children are the most vulnerable population, because they don't have a voice. Really, they don't have a voice. You know, the others can ask, demand, or even create resources or find resources, but the children are totally dependent on others. So I think if you look at the hygiene kit, it's beautifully put together. It has the sanitizer, it has the the mask, the 3-layered mask, the soap, and the sanitary pad also. Now these things are also important, because these are the last things which people think about. And you'll be surprised to know that due to unsanitary conditions for a young girl who's menstruating, she can have infection and in fact tetanus also. And this was revealed to me by somebody who's working very closely with, providing such things to the young children, young girls. That a young girl died of tetanus because obviously she didn't have access to, the hygienic things. Now, it is, I think, important for all of us to do our bit, which means that it's not important that everyone is, doing everything, but whatever, however small, whatever is possible, we should do. And I think it's important because in today's time, nutrition not only will protect the immunity, it will give I want to just quickly say one thing, that, we are surrounded by billions of bacteria and viruses. And as a human species, we have survived for thousands of years. And this is because of our own immunity, our own inner fighting power. All our body needs is some food. if it gets food, it has its own defense forces inside.
No, absolutely.
So
And I think that linkage between nutrition and hygiene and how both of them together can make a difference and something we can never forget. Thank you, Dr. Sharma, so much for being with us.
It's just so good to have you with us. Thank you very much for sparing the time. We have a long connection. Actually, in fact, we've sat together where you're sitting right now. And in fact, I just remind everybody that you did the music for our channel ID many years ago, especially NDTV India, and Prasoon Joshi, both of you featured in what we just saw, did our tagline. It's just wonderful to have you. And we have been to your school where you're teaching young kids and they're doing so well. We just started with Lydian. Tremendous. He's an absolute star. So at a time like this, I know what an emotional person you are. You must be very moved and worried about what's happening to our children, and we should focus on our children now, right?
Absolutely. I think it's very important that they're happy, and for them, sense of freedom is very important. They're all locked down.
Yeah.
And it's very important to be sensitive to them and be kind to them. And so in my house, my kids have grown up now, so I had more time spending, than my whole life. Like, they're very pleased that, they keep saying that daddy has never spent so much time.
How lovely.
So much. So that's good. And also mind needs rest. So we're just eating, sleeping in a way. Sometimes not working also is a good thing.
Yeah.
So it settles down your spiritual thoughts and.
Right. Actually, that's an important point. It's a time to think and to rethink of what we're doing right and what we're doing wrong also, especially when it comes to our children. Are we forgetting about them with so many distractions because are they being marginalized? We do need to rethink, right?
True. Sometimes our life is very convenience driven, and when something is convenient, we just said, "Oh, it goes when it's not broken. Let's not fix it." But we have to see some disasters coming, and have a vision to see what's coming. And one of the things is about definitely climate change, and then the future of the children. When how can we? Sometimes humanity has to learn from each other, and when something is good from another nation, another community, this thing, it's good to adapt good things from that. And now, of course, it seems like it's a test from the divine for us, saying that everything has gone wrong, fix it now, and then I'm not going to give you permission to live freely like how you were before till you fix it. So it's time to rethink, you have to go back to the drawing board. The reset button has been pressed.
Right. I must say that I have a bit of a problem talking to you about children because you're a bacha and you're really looking young and fit, and I know you're working very hard. But it is a very special time, and I know what an emotional person you are. I know that you're thinking about, you've seen the migrants with children walking miles. I know how that's affecting you. It troubles you a lot right now, doesn't it? What's happening to our children?
It's terrifying when, before going to sleep. And one thing we have to get reminded is, and also this during Ramadan where we're fasting, we realize how people are suffering without food. And in a way, it brings back that, that feeling of hunger. And especially children. So our foundation, we are committed to bringing underprivileged children back as leaders, as art leaders or music leaders, so they can spread the message, they can bring joy to the world. And it also demolishes the social divide, which people have, rich and poor, when they're empowered with the knowledge. And we're also proud that, Lydian was also learning from he's learning from many places, but in a way, he started piano with Dr. Chatterjee from KM Music Conservatory, so you would have seen his mastery over things. And it's interesting to see how they can excel. And today's IQ of children is very good, and it's good to utilize that in a more positive and a
Beautiful.
way. Yeah.
I mean, he's one example, but I have seen and I've witnessed myself being around your schools and your various areas where you have inspired and created so many children, made them into world-class talents. You are an inspiration, but in a sense, everybody can do their bit to create talent and to help children, right?
Absolutely. When in music, art, in whatever we do, it doesn't have to be music or art. It is a reflection. It is you get that energy to go on in your life is when people notice that stuff, and when they notice that you want to improve that, you want to refine it, you want to get better.
Yes.
You want to think of more ways to bring happiness, and that is what keeps me going. Otherwise, from I started at the age of 12, 13, and what is that drives me is that your love, your good wishes, and what makes you happy. And in that, I get my happiness. And whether it's a foundation, or whether it's my compositions, or my performance, I think you inspire me. So don't lose hope. God bless you all.
Well, joining us now, the wonderful director Kabir Khan. Mr. Khan, thank you so much for being with us. Now, you've donated money to take care of 50 children through World Vision India. When did you decide that you really needed to do something at this stage to make a difference in the lives of so many children?
Hi, Vishnu. Well, it's just we've been sitting here for the past 45, 50 days and watching television, watching your channel. When you see what's happening out on the streets there, on the highways, it really is, it's sad, but the contrast between sort of the rich and the underprivileged in this country really comes to the fore. And I was very uncomfortable, seeing the images that were unfolding on the screen, reading about what is happening with the underprivileged, the children, the images on television. It makes you extremely uncomfortable, and sometimes you feel, what can you do? You feel almost helpless. And then thankfully, I saw this initiative on your channel, and I said, it's a drop in the ocean, but I feel that at this point in time, anybody who has resources, we are all well-paid professionals, and if we have our resources with us, we should be able to reach out at this point and help whoever we can. It's a big country, it's a large population. It's really a situation of, sometimes nothing is enough, but at least whoever can should reach out and help to whatever extent they can.
All right, Mr. Khan, that's wonderful to hear. Thank you so much. Well, let's go across now to Pranoy, who's got a fantastic guest with him, one of the finest minds in the world of economics.
Yes, it's just a great privilege to have you, Abhijit, Nobel Prize winner, and a person who inspires us with the kind of economics you do. On the ground, you had so much experience, so much study, and in this situation, this pandemic must be pushing you to your limit, because especially the children, they are marginalized. You've done a lot of work with children in all your studies, working with NGOs to reach out to children, make sure they're inoculated, vaccinated. How would you tell or advise policymakers today to help our children who are really the last in the line right now?
Let me start by focusing on one specific group, which is the group of children who have already run away from home or very partially attached to their homes. I think this is actually, we have no idea of how large this is, but I would guess it's many millions of children who just work in a tea shop, work as a helper on a truck, work as even as a loader in a shop. I mean, there really are lots of children working, and I don't think we have an honest estimate of that. It's just hard to do. I don't blame anybody for not doing it, but it's because children will deny it. They know that they're not supposed to say it, so it's hard to do. but I think there are many million children who are completely not attached. And if they're not attached, it's not clear to me how they're supposed to be served by even the rudimentary welfare system we have. You know, if PDS provides free food, it doesn't provide it to children. So even if this somehow we manage to operationalize one card, one Bharat, it's not going to be one card, one Bharat, one child. So it's going to be, these are just, they don't exist on anybody's rolls. So I'm very frightened for them, because they really have there's nothing that's designed for them. Their existence is not actually acknowledged half the time, because it's illegal to employ them, but how do they survive? They're begging, they're just doing odds and ends. They're whatever, they're involved with crime syndicates, but it's just, I don't see a way for us to serve them.
Mr. Banerjee, the key point that you just mentioned is just that there cannot be a kind of a macro all-India announcement approach. This has to be really at a micro level to identify these children literally dying every day and not even being counted, and only NGOs are there at the ground level. So you would say that go down to an NGO level if you really want to help the children.
Correct. I would say that there is probably a bunch of NGOs that are actually already trying their best to save these children, do what they can. I feel that one thing that constrains them is the lack of a funding model. Right now, it's not that the corporates are flush with money, so everybody is holding back. But in fact, it's a time for the money to be spent. And I think that money needs to arrive in the hands of these NGOs. And I don't think we have the screening mechanism to choose NGOs sitting in Delhi. I think we need to go down to the district level. There are great NGOs which work in one district, or not 24 Parganas. I know some good NGOs working there. But it's really that level. And how would anyone who hasn't worked in that area know about them?
Just to follow up on that important point that Nidhi just raised, and the question to you, it has to be at a micro level. And I know you're a person of data and analysis, but you also are a very soft person. So again, I just keep thinking of those pictures of migrant workers with little children walking thousands of kilometers. It just breaks your heart, doesn't it?
In this heat, my God, yes. I feel like, this particular thing, we have to, all of us who belong to the Indian elite, kind of have to hang our heads in shame. We really didn't understand what the economy was built on, and we have all of us, maybe more me, because as an economist, I should be saying this. I was not saying this. I mean, we should have had, one nation, one ration card a long time ago.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you very, very, very much for joining us. Thank you.
Okay, take care of yourself.
You too, you too.
Well, joining us now, Madhav Belamkonda. He's the National Director of World Vision India. Mr. Belamkonda, it's great to be partnering with you on this. Now, you've stepped into a very critical role right in the middle of one of the worst crises the world has ever seen, and certainly perhaps the biggest that your organization has had to deal with in a situation like this. How did you need to act fast? How did you need to hit the ground running to ensure that you could protect so many more than you normally would have been able to?
Thank you, Vishnu. Thank you, Dr. Pranay. And the crisis didn't really prepare us well enough, but what is ahead is something that we can plan right now. And this crisis, in spite of all this, the downside of it, I think sometimes it also throws us the opportunity for us to rise above all our limitations and do something for the children. And one of the key things that are really troubling for us at the World Vision India is to see so many children getting malnutrition or hungry, and they're just getting not getting enough help. And as Abhijit Banerjee right now said, in fact, actually, World Vision staff we are about 1,200 staff working at the grassroots level. And working in close to about 6,200 communities in the grassroots level, in the districts, in the blocks, and seeing the children and what they're lacking is just breaks our hearts. And from my point of view, one of the key things is the whole scale of malnutrition that is going to come in right at the pandemic is just enormous. And one of the reports that I can see is that close to about 6 lakh children under the age of 5 are at the risk of facing death in the next 12 months as per the Lancet report. I mean, that's staggering, isn't it? And also one of the UN estimation is about 190 million children are still undernourished. That's a staggering. Imagine once this pandemic gets over, I think we are going to see a huge amount of these children looking at us and saying, can't you hear us? And do you care for us? And I think that's when we felt that at World Vision India, we need to actually step in and step up our efforts. And if wherever we can partner with the government or agencies and other NGOs, and I think we all need to come together, Vishnu, to make sure that our children do not go hungry any single day. And I think that is our priority.
बिल्कुल माधव जी, जो वर्ल्ड विजन इंडिया का प्रोमो भी चल रहा है इस मुहिम का, उसमें 2 वो बच्चे हैं जिन्होंने अपने माता पिता को लखनऊ में एक्सीडेंट में खोया है, तो वर्ल्ड विजन आगे उनको किस तरह से सपोर्ट या उनके लिए काम करने की सोच रहा है, क्या किया जाएगा?
Absolutely. The moment we saw the story and we felt that I think World Vision needs to help them out. World Vision India is concerned about both Vipin and Chandani's well-being and their future. So what we certainly ensure is to have the educational assistance reaching out to them, and also livelihood assistance given to the caretakers of these 2 wonderful children, and our heart goes out and our prayers goes out to them.
बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया माधव जी, और उम्मीद यही करते हैं इन बच्चों तक ये मदद पहुंचे। बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया। हमारे साथ अब खास मेहमान रोटरी इंटरनेशनल प्रेसिडेंट मिस्टर शेखर मेहता हमारे साथ मौजूद हैं, मिस्टर रमेश अग्रवाल भी हमारे साथ हैं। बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया आप दोनों का जुड़ने के लिए। जो हमारी आज की मुहिम है कि भूख मुक्त हो भारत, और ख़ास तौर से हमारे जो बच्चे हैं, छोटे बच्चे हैं जो हम देख सकते हैं, ख़ास तौर से प्रवासी मजदूर जो सड़कों पर चले जा रहे हैं अपने माता पिता के साथ चलते, कोई सूटकेस में सो रहा है तो कोई किस तरह से माता पिता उनको ले जा रहे हैं, मन में क्या भाव और किस तरह से इनकी मदद की जा सकती है?
ये बच्चे अभी जो इस महामारी चल रही है, they are one of the most affected people. It is one of our life's biggest crisis, and we all need to ensure that our children are safe, they get nutrition, their education is not hampered. And these are very important things, and fortunately Rotary is working towards all of these. As far as food security is concerned, till now we have provided food to about 35 lakhs to 40 lakh people, of which naturally every family has a lot of children. As far as healthcare for them is concerned, we have spent approximately 15 to 20 crores of rupees only on medical facilities, supplies, etc. We've provided 1 crore masks over this period. All the Rotary clubs, there are nearly 4,000 Rotary clubs in India, and this is what they've been able to do. Apart from this, PM Cares Fund by itself, we have made a contribution of 105 crore rupees already, and there is more which is flowing in. The value of the work that Rotarians have done for COVID, apart from this 105 crores that has been sent directly to PM Cares, would be another about 75 to 80 crores, total coming to about 180 crores, which for people who pay out of their savings is a big amount of money. And most of it, lot of it will go towards the children. Apart from this, education is a major area. Education ke liye, we have been talking to the government, and fortunately, we have been working on online education for the last 10 years. करीब 30,000 स्कूलों तक हम पहुंचे हैं, तो अभी हमने गवर्नमेंट को कहा है वी हैव रेडी करिकुलम and we are in talks with them to provide that curriculum to them over the next 10-15 days. Class 1 से 12 तक का curriculum हर state के लिए उनको मिल जाएगा ready, which will be provided online, and it is one of the best audiovisual curriculum that can be available.
In fact, we just wanted to go across to Ramesh ji for more on this. Ramesh ji, how does one actually contribute to actually making some of your plans work?
See, basically, first, I would like to tell you that World Vision India has been one of our reliable partners. We are already working closely with World Vision India since last many years. We are working in schools like Wash in Schools program that we have today. And we can certainly rely on World Vision because it is a grassroots organization, highest level of transparency, and they mean business. And the way forward, I think, as our Rotary International President nominee has already mentioned, I think we got to all our programs are focused toward children. Whether it is Wash in Schools, whether we talk about Wash in Healthcare, whether any kind of program like Back to School, e-learning, providing clean water in schools or in communities. So our focus is again children.
Thank you so much, both of you, for joining us. Dr. Srinath Reddy, the President of the Public Health Foundation of India, with us as well. Dr. Reddy, how important is it for us never to forget the importance of nutrition in children in a COVID situation? Yes, statistically, young people get better. Children are perhaps somewhat less vulnerable, but that really depends on the nutrition that they are receiving. And therefore, if they are COVID infected, how important is it for them to be well fed in order to fight off the infection?
Firstly, children do require much better nutrition to maintain their immunity status so that they can fight off an infection. But certainly nutrition is also required for intellectual growth. And during a very important period of life, if they do not have adequate nutrition, their cognitive development and brain power are affected. But let us also recognize that we are actually having a situation of pre-existing disadvantage. We have about 35% of our children who are already under 5 in a stunted state. Then about 33.4% who are underweight and about 17.3% are wasted. Now, these are the national averages. But people from poor families obviously have much higher levels of undernutrition, which means that we are denying them an opportunity for cognitive development. And that also restricts not only their educational and growth opportunities and later on employment, but essentially constricts their whole future even in adulthood.
Right. I just wanted to go back to Mr. Ramesh Agarwal, who chairs the Rotary India Sanitary Mission, with a fairly pointed question, sir. How can Rotary India support this cause where we are talking about hunger and children in this particular time?
Yeah, so we are going to support World Vision India through our Wash in Schools program. That is one program, and today I would...
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, today I am making a small announcement. A couple from my club, Rotary Club of Delhi, Ashoka, Archana Gupta and Anil Gupta, Managing Director of KEI Industries Limited, has committed to contribute 20 lakhs as a beginning. And more big announcements will come from Shekhar Mehta, who is already there. But this is as a beginning, 20 lakhs from Rotary Club of Delhi, Ashoka towards this COVID-19 relief fund from Rotary.
रमेश जी, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया इस डोनेशन के लिए। वाकई में बहुत ज़रूरी है कि हमारे ये डोनेशन आए और हमारे बच्चों तक पहुंचे ज़मीनी स्तर पर, कि उनको अच्छा पोषित खाना मिल सके। सर, वर्ल्ड विजन इंडिया के साथ हम ये कर रहे हैं, साथ मिलकर ये पूरी मुहिम आगे बढ़ रही है। आप लोग सैनिटेशन में जिस तरह से इतना ध्यान दे रहे हैं, जो इतने बच्चे राह में चल रहे हैं, क्या कुछ खास किया गया? ज़रा थोड़ा सा हमारे दर्शकों को बताइए आप लोगों की तरफ से।
शेखर जी, आप बता रहे हैं, मैं बताऊं?
जी,
बताता हूं।
शेखर जी बताइए।
सो इन जी सैनिटेशन के लिए आई वांट टू मेक अ मेंशन हियर कि in today's program we commit that from Rotary we will spend an amount of rupees 1 crore for sanitation, providing hand washing. हमने कोविड में ये देखा कि हर बच्चे को हाथ धोने की जरूरत है. We will provide into 1000 schools, we will provide this, and the value of that will be nearly 2 crore rupees. 1 crore, we are putting a challenge here now to all the people who will come hereafter. Whatever amount you put for sanitation, hand wash in schools, we will match that amount on behalf of Rotary in India.
Well, that's fantastic to hear, and thank you so much for making that contribution. It really will make a huge
बहरहाल सर अभी स्कूल्स तो बंद हैं, लेकिन फिलहाल इंतजार करेंगे. लेकिन अगर आपकी मुहिम चलेगी, 2 करोड़ हमारे बच्चों के लिए पहुंचेगा सैनिटेशन में, इसके लिए तहे दिल से शुक्रिया आपका. बहरहाल आइए आगे बढ़ते हैं. हमारे साथ प्रियंका प्रकाश, हु इज हेड ऑनलाइन गिविंग मार्केटिंग एंड पार्टनरशिप्स एट गिव इंडिया, हमारे साथ हैं. मेरा सवाल आपसे यही है कि आपको लगता है कोरोना के इस दौर में जो फोकस है सोशल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी पर आ गया है, सरकारें करें जो कर रही हैं, लेकिन जो हमारी सामाजिक दायित्व है हम सबका, वो एक बार फिर से कोरोना ने सामने लाके खड़ा कर दिया है.
COVID-19, I think, for the first time has brought the entire nation together because of the suffering that each one of us are going through. But I think that most difficult, times are had by the people on the streets, the wage workers, the migrant laborers, and several people who don't have any income or means. While the government is doing a lot to help them, in time, immediately, I think a lot of NGOs like World Vision and several others are providing immediate relief. And to do this, we definitely need a lot of help. Corporates and individuals across the board can come forward to support and provide immediate relief to those on the ground. So I would really urge everybody, not just individual citizens, but corporates and brands and everybody out there to come in support of NGOs like World Vision and many more, so that they can provide relief to people right now.
Sure. And Ms. Prakash, were you expecting this outpouring of support from so many people in the public? People in a time like this are still getting out there and helping and supporting?
We did. We did feel like there'll be a lot of support coming in from the public, but this is at a scale that we have not seen before. If you look at the previous disasters like the floods across Kerala, Chennai, Odisha, Gujarat, and many other states, people from the states came forward to support, to provide relief in those states. But I think this is the first time as a nation we're all feeling like we are in this together. We need to support everybody. So the public outpour in terms of support, not just moral support, but also providing, funds, coming forward to give as little as they can. So that, whether it's PM or NGOs like Vision or platforms like Give India, I think we have seen a huge surge in the amount of donations and support that has come forward. People write to us stating that please let us know how can we help, not just in form of donations. So this kind of a empathetic wave of emotion across the country, I think, is by far the highest so far that any one of us have seen in decades.
Well, there's just Vishnu and Nidhi, amazing news we've just got. Amazing. We have an anonymous donor who's decided to give World Vision India 95 lakhs donation by one person who wants to remain anonymous. Nidhi, isn't that just fantastic?
Absolutely, sir, and thank you to that person, really. Yes. चलिए आगे बढ़ते हैं और आपको अब सीधे हम कोलकाता लिए चलते हैं। अमूमन आपको सड़कों में देखते हैं, लोग हैं, चौराहों पर हम देखते हैं लोग नजर आते हैं, रिक्शा पुलर्स होते हैं। आपको सीधे अब मोनादीपा बैनर्जी की रिपोर्ट दिखाते हैं कि जो उन्होंने वहां पे रिक्शा पुलर्स से बातचीत की है, देखते हैं रिपोर्ट।
To sleep is to escape. For the 65-year-old rickshaw puller Ramshankar Pandit, who lives in central Kolkata, sleep is an escape from his hunger. Even a cup of tea is a question mark every day. Since the pandemic began, these pavement dwellers have had to depend on the generosity of the government and non-profits like World Vision India for their daily meal.
दवा तो आता है, मिलता है, खाता है, नहीं मिलता है तो बाबू हमको खाना खिलाया जाता है। जब दाना पानी नहीं मिले तो खबर हो जाएगा, भूखे प्यासे मरेंगे।
This young man and a band of friends are volunteers for World Vision that has been working in this area since 1996. Since the pandemic began, they have been distributing cooked food packets to many in and around the area.
I request to the government, the people who doesn't have ration card, voter ID card of the West Bengal, so you can also feed those people who doesn't have any documents.
These families are the worst hit. Originally from Bihar, they live under plastic roofs at the mercy of local police who sometimes simply chase them away. In the best of times, life is difficult for pavement dwellers in Kolkata. Right now, in the middle of the pandemic, things have become so much more difficult that going to bed hungry has become something of a habit for many.
Just to bring in Ravish, who's done so much reporting and analysis of this pandemic and how India is reacting to it. Some very, very important reports he's given. Ravish, over to you.
डॉक्टर राय, आपने बहुत ही जरूरी विषय को उठाया है। इस वक्त किसी का ध्यान बच्चों की तरफ नहीं जा रहा है। हर क्लास के, हर शहर और हर गांव के बच्चे डिस्प्लेस्ड हुए हैं, विस्थापित हुए हैं। जो मजदूरों के बच्चे हैं वो तो सबसे ज्यादा 20-20 घंटे तक सिर्फ बिस्किट खाकर रह रहे हैं। और गांव का हाल मैं जानता हूं, जब पैसे नहीं होंगे तो बच्चों को उनकी जरूरी चीजें पे भी कटौती हो जाती है। जरूरत का खाना नहीं मिलता और मन का खाना, जो बच्चे बीच बीच में कुछ खाना चाहते हैं, वो भी नहीं मिलता। अब सरकार देखिए, वो अनाज देती है, दाल देती है, चना देती है, लेकिन बच्चों के लिए क्या देती है? उनमें बच्चों के लिए कोई चीज नहीं होती। तो हमें बच्चों के बारे में ठीक से सोचना पड़ेगा। उन पर इस वक्त मेंटल ट्रॉमा, इमोशनल ट्रॉमा और मेल न्यूट्रिशन का जो हमला हुआ है, उससे बचाना होगा। मजदूरों के साथ बच्चे हजारों किलोमीटर दूर चल रहे हैं, उनकी मेमोरी का ये पार्ट बन जाएगा। वो बहुत क्राइसिस में हैं, उनके स्कूल बंद हो गए, उनके दोस्त छूट गए। गांव के बच्चों के स्कूल बंद हैं, शहर के स्कूल छूट गए और मजदूर अपने बच्चों को लेकर जैसे तैसे पैदल चला जा रहा है। बड़ा ही भयावह दृश्य है। मैं उम्मीद करता हूं कि हमारे जो दर्शक हैं वो आपके इस अभियान को निराश नहीं करेंगे। और ये भी कहना चाहता हूं कि जो भी लोग मदद कर रहे हैं, खाना खिला रहे हैं, कुछ लोग तो करते हैं, मगर सभी को बड़ों के हिसाब से खाना तो वो बनाते ही हैं। मैं चाहता हूं वो बच्चों के हिसाब से भी बनाएं। और प्रधानमंत्री के लिए भी एक सलाह है कि वो बाल विकास मंत्री के साथ राज्यों के और केंद्र के वीडियो कॉन्फ्रेंसिंग करें, निर्देश दें। हर राज्य में चाइल्ड डेवलपमेंट मिनिस्ट्री होती है, ऑफिसर होता है, वो क्यों नहीं इस वक्त सड़क पर है? क्यों नहीं वो मोहल्लों में अपना बजट लेकर घूम रहा है और बच्चों की मदद कर रहा है? तो हमें जरूरत है सिस्टम को एक्टिवेट करने की और समाज को एक्टिवेट करने की, जो सही वक्त पर आप कर रहे हैं डॉक्टर रॉय।
So absolutely spot on, Ravish, as usual. Really important that they should get out there and do something, not just sit in their offices. And as you say, child development and all ministries in charge of children have a major responsibility today. Isn't that right, Nidhi and Vishnu?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. You just can't think of a bigger issue than this in a time like COVID, the rights of children.
Exactly.
Well, joining us, Joseph Wesley, he's Child Protection Specialist with World Vision India. Thanks very much for being with us. COVID has thrown up an incredible concern on the issue of child protection. In a situation like this, when there are lockdown zones and there are containment zones and all sorts of problems, how best can we protect our children? Because in many cases, children aren't out there in the open. They are somewhere and we don't really know what's happening.
Yeah, first of all, thank you very much for having me on the show. As you rightly said, children living in the urban environment, they are living very invisible lives. So most of them are living in an undocumented life where they do not have even the basic identity documents like birth certificate or ration cards and the documents which are necessary for them to access the services that are available to them. So World Vision India has been working with these kind of children across the country. So we have a series of street children projects implemented in all the metropolitan cities of India. And then we also had different child labor projects implemented in most of the urban centers of our country where the children are living this invisible lives. So what we have learned in the process is that already these children are living in a very precarious situation. Now this COVID situation has only made their condition even more worse. So we are faced with an insurmountable problem now. The country has made enormous progress in the last few decades in rehabilitating these children like child laborers, children living on the streets, and children working as rag pickers. Now we are faced with a momentum where we are going to set at least some 10 years back in this entire process of rehabilitating the street children. So, for instance, if you just see what's happening in Calcutta, we are working in the red light areas of Calcutta, and as soon as this lockdown was imposed, immediately there was a curfew imposed on this area. The women living in the red light area, that is women involved in commercial sex, so they were severely affected in the process. Let's remember the fact that it is not only the women who are living in the red light area, but also they have children. So we've done a survey in which we have understood that every woman living in the red light area have at least 1 or 2 more children in their families. So children are also living in this red light area. So when the curfew was imposed, immediately there was a drastic reduction of their clientele. So they've lost their entire income. So what you see is today a famine-like situation. Women and children are living in hunger. So that's what we are seeing today. So not only that, because the women and children are living in the brothel even today, there is a high risk of infection. So children are living in fears and anxieties because they don't know what is going to happen to their own mother, because that's all they have left with. The only mother, the biological relationship they have in their life is only their mother. So they are just
बिल्कुल आप सही कह रहे हैं। भविष्य को लेकर बहुत अनिश्चितताएं हैं और चिंताएं भी होंगी। हम सीधे अब चलते हैं आरव वर्मा के पास। कार्यक्रम के शुरुआत में आपने देखा आरव ने पेंटिंग शुरू की थी। 1 घंटे से ज़्यादा हो गया, 1.5 घंटा हो गया है, आरव की पेंटिंग चल रही है। तो ज़रा देखने की कोशिश करते हैं आरव की पेंटिंग कहाँ तक पहुँची है। बहुत सुंदर आरव। तो आगे भी कार्यक्रम के अंत में एक बार फिर से आरव के पास आएंगे। अब सीधे हम मिस्टर अलंगो पेनन के पास चलते हैं। इन्होंने 20 लाख रुपए डोनेट किए हैं इनकी कंपनी ने इस कॉज के लिए। सर, माय क्वेश्चन इज व्हाई डू यू वांट टू कंट्रीब्यूट टू द कोविड-19 रिस्पांस?
The entire globe and India is reeling under intense impact of what is possibly the worst health crisis in decades. India, with a population of 1.3 billion, is experiencing world's largest lockdown due to COVID-19. The lockdown running into 7th week now has not only impacted livelihoods, but has also increased the level of poverty and malnutrition. The humanitarian and economic crisis due to the pandemic is so grave that we need to do something about it. We as Refinitiv are one of the largest providers of financial market data and infrastructure. And in India itself, we are a strong 5,500 passionate people. We have made sustainable leadership an important part of who we are and what we stand for. We believe that we are at the heart of an ecosystem of change makers. We also hold ourselves accountable on how we can support sustainable alongside our stakeholders and how we can leverage the skills of our people to drive social impact. This is what we call as sustainable leadership. We take a lot of pride in our commitment to make positive difference to the environment or the community we operate in. This is not a one-off thing, but it is a sustained effort to make a visible change in people's lives. And hence, in the most trying times, it is important for us as an organization to contribute in whatever we can to address the impact of COVID-19.
And how has your partnership with World Vision India, how is that actually helping children on the ground?
Refinitiv and World Vision India have had a successful partnership for a number of years now. We have leveraged our skills and passion of our people to engage in a number of projects in rural parts of Karnataka. Our employees, when they visit these villages, conduct training programs for children on topics like life skills, waste management, sanitation, self-hygiene, and they also participate in the sampling plantation along with the kids. This successful partnership with World Vision India has helped to extend our critical and essential support for this COVID response. One of our biggest focus for COVID-19 relief is towards providing nutrition to those displaced by the pandemic. We are contributing by providing essentials such as dry rations to more than 1,500 families residing in Bengaluru and Bellary. We hope to do more in the coming weeks and months.
That's just fantastic. Great to hear that. And Vishnu and Nidhi, some more amazing news. Yes. Let me have the privilege to announce, I know you'd like to say it. And another anonymous donor, another one, donating 1,35 lakhs. You know, this sort of, it's really, it's obviously an issue that's touched everybody's hearts, and it is just so wonderful to hear. Wonderful, unprecedented.
And this is just the announcements now, and you know, I mean, there are a lot which we aren't announcing, and there's a lot of information coming in. But but if these were elections, Pranoy, you'd say these trends are very encouraging. We may have an early result on this one.
Right. All right. And you know, I hate to say it, but this is much more important than elections.
It is.
फिलहाल जो आज ये मुहिम है, लोग, हमारा जो समाज है, किस तरह से जुड़ के, देश भर से लोग जुड़कर किस तरह से योगदान दे रहे हैं। हमारे साथ मिस्टर रमेश अग्रवाल, चेयरमैन रोटरी इंडिया सैनिटेशन मिशन, एक बार फिर से जुड़े हैं। सर, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया, आपने इतनी बड़ी डोनेशन दी, आपने अपना योगदान दिया है इस पूरी मुहिम के लिए। आप शायद कुछ और भी कहना चाह रहे थे। जी
हाँ, अभी एक और अनाउंसमेंट मैं करना चाहूंगा। एक हमारे रोटेरियन जीएस कोचर, रोटरी क्लब ऑफ दिल्ली मिडवेस्ट, दिल्ली के रहने वाले हैं, उन्होंने 10 लाख रुपए और कंट्रीब्यूट करने का फैसला किया है। 10 lakhs more from Rotary.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
That's superb. That's absolutely fantastic. So many people now. Well, we are now joined by Karuna Bhatia, who is the head of sustainability at Standard Chartered Bank. Before we begin, we'd just like to mention that Standard Chartered are giving 6,000 kits. Each kit costs about 1,200 rupees. So that's a very generous donation of 72 lakh rupees. Karuna, thanks very much for being a part of this huge mission. Why was it important for you to contribute to the COVID-19 response?
India is going through challenging times because of the COVID pandemic, and we feel that it's important to give back to the society what we've received from it. The migrant population has been deeply impacted by this pandemic, and having lost their jobs during the lockdown, it's important to support them. As a bank, we've been in the country now for over 160 years, and we feel that it is our duty to help the citizens and communities live in a safe environment. One of the reasons we bring our Here for Good brand promise to life is by affecting real change in the communities that we live in. Every drop counts, and we feel that any small effort can be a big help in these times. The bank's commitment is not a one-off commitment, and we look at a sustained effort to ensure that we make a deep and lasting impact in the communities that we live and work in.
करुणा जी, आपका जो बैंक है वर्ल्ड विजन इंडिया के साथ पार्टनरशिप करके इस मुहिम में साथ दे रहा है, तो क्यों आपने जो ये मुहिम थी या बच्चों का जो मसला था इसको चुना और आपने पार्टनरशिप की?
Each year, the malnutrition-related diseases are going up greater than 60%, especially in children less than 5 years in developing countries. The pandemic has only going to take up these numbers significantly higher. Our support to World Vision for the pandemic is to really take dry rations across to 6,000 marginalized families across 12 districts in 6 states. Overall impacting approximately 25,000 people. We have worked with World Vision in the past to further the WASH agenda in Jaipur, impacting more than 3,000 children. I want to take a little bit of time to tell you about the Standard Chartered COVID 3-pronged strategy that we have in India. For the immediate, we are looking to provide food, rations and essentials to the communities, especially the migrant labor and visually impaired girls and their families. In the medium term, we are looking to restore livelihood options, creating market and financial linkages for women micro-entrepreneurs and women farmers. And lastly, we are looking to support research to create low-cost health opportunities to combat COVID. Our support, we have been the first corporate to support IIT Kanpur in their research and development of creating a low-cost portable invasive ventilator, which is currently under testing to be manufactured by the end of the month. Overall, for COVID, Standard Chartered Bank has impacted over 1 million lives.
बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया इस तमाम सपोर्ट के लिए करुणा जी.
Cherian Thomas, thanks very much for joining us again. Very good of you. Wonderful response. Obviously, World Vision has got a huge amount of trust of people, and that's great to hear. This sort of donation, these are really amazing. But amongst all of this, you know, I know the way you work. You do look on the ground work plus a lot of input of data. So how much do statistics and data analysis and data science affect your actual strategy of World Vision and World Vision India both?
Yeah, that's what I mentioned right at the beginning when you talked about heart. I did mention that for us there is also a fair amount of head. And we combine the two and we try and do it together. For very long, social sciences have had a very strong bias towards qualitative studies, and that's very, very critical, that's very necessary. But equally, what many of us from the corporate sector who join places like World Vision bring is also a very strong data analysis and ability to look at data and to bring data to the table. So for instance, for World Vision, our basic vision is about bringing fullness of life to every child. So our vision statement is actually expressed in this manner. Our vision for every child, life in all its fullness, and that really talks about therefore what is very at the heart of World Vision, which is child well-being. Now, child well-being can be a nebulous concept, and how is it that we can give it a more concrete data-based approach? We have looked at child well-being in 4 components. One is clearly look at child well-being as health and nutrition. A child having access to health and good nutrition, and therefore not being malnourished. And malnourishment levels are still inordinately high in our country. Stunting is still as high as 38%. In terms of weight, it's about 35%. In terms of wasting, we actually saw in the last family survey, National Family Health Survey, it actually increased marginally in 2016. So very clearly, health is very critical. There are a lot of indicators that you can use to quantify it. There is education, and education is more than just enrollment. It is clearly about looking at learning outcomes. The third area is really the area of protection and safeguarding of children. It is children being safeguarded from abuse, children being safeguarded from exploitation, from child labor, child marriage, so many areas where it happens, and particularly in pandemics like this, increasingly where children are at home, a lot of access to virtual media, online predators are again a big challenge. So that's another area which we need to be very mindful of. And finally, underlying all this is the community in which they live, where their parents live, their families live, and therefore livelihoods becomes a very important component. So doing all that together, we developed last year a 24 parameter index, which looks at how various states, and this is called the India Child Wellbeing Report of 2019. It was released in August of 2019 by the CEO of Niti Aayog at a function that we had in Delhi. And this is one report that has really sparked the imagination of many people, and particularly since there is a certain amount of benchmarking and where we are, that is very critical and important. When we looked at our strategy, for instance, World Vision has a strategy from 21 to 25. We actually mapped out all the blocks of this country and defined a vulnerability index. And today we actually have vulnerability indices for all the blocks of this country. And therefore we know where the most critical blocks are from the point of view of child well-being.
I think so this is really, really important, all those factors you mentioned, you know, to actually be able to pinpoint using data, analyzing, creating this index, as you say, of 24 parameters. Fantastic stuff. Very, very good. And moving from data science to the other end of the spectrum, I don't know which is better.
Roy, आरव वर्मा के पास चलते हैं. आरव हमारे साथ मौजूद हैं.
Because he's been working solidly, yeah.
जी, आरव ने 7 बजे की शुरुआत में एक पेंटिंग करनी शुरू की थी और अब वो पेंटिंग कहाँ पहुंची है? आरव, आप ये भी बताइए, आपके मन में क्या चल रहा था इस दौरान जब आप ये पेंटिंग कर रहे थे? और पेंटिंग भी दिखाइए जी.
Well, I'm very fortunate and thankful to NDTV and World Vision India to provide me with this opportunity to serve the children of the nation through my art. The art is most beautiful when it has a meaning, and today I try to express these feelings on the canvas, and this art has a message of humanity.
Oh, that's absolutely fantastic. We're going to stay with these images for just a few moments. That's absolutely. Can you tell us, Arav, a little bit more about what it is that you're trying to show here? A message of humanity. What exactly is the message in this wonderful, wonderful painting of yours? Tell us a bit about the painting.
The feeling of the affected children of our nation, I try to express it on the canvas, and that's it.
It's just fantastic. Shobna Kamineni, the Executive Vice Chairperson of Apollo Hospitals Enterprise Limited, is very impressed with that. And I think she might actually be interested in buying it as well. Shobna, tell us a little bit about what you think of that young prodigy's work.
I think that these are special times, and when a child and somebody so young has the spirit, one is to pour out emotions in this, then that's a great outlet. I think we should encourage that, and I'm so happy to be part of this program, and I think that children are suffering in more ways than just one. It's definitely hunger drives it, and but it's also the mental tension of what is this world that they're not used to at all, and I think that any outlet that allows them to express themselves is so important.
Well, that's just fantastic to hear, and thank you so much for being a part of this. And to that young, fantastic painter, we think the world of you and that fantastic painting of yours as well. Nidhi?
बिल्कुल. और हमारे साथ मिस्टर शेखर मेहता, रोटरी इंटरनेशनल के प्रेसिडेंट, फिर एक बार जुड़ रहे हैं. जी मेहता जी, बताइए.
So, Nidhi, we are coming towards the end of this program. Probably I was told it's going to be 2 hours, and I had thought when I came that World Vision is doing such great work in the field of education, health, WASH, that when we come here as a very strong partner of theirs, we would want to be the highest contributors of the day on behalf of Rotary India. So I had mentioned 1 crore, we increased the contribution to 1.5 crore rupees.
1.5 crores. I think Prannoy joins us as well at this stage. That's just fantastic. 1.5 crores being donated by the Rotarians. That's just incredible.
Absolutely heartwarming to hear that. Really, God bless you. This is an emotional moment for all of us, and that means a lot. It means a lot. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much indeed. Well, we are joined now by Shankar Mahadevan, the singer, composer. He's participated in many fundraising efforts, including the One Nation, One Song anthem that featured 100 artists. It was released on the 3rd of May, I think, in about 14 different languages. Thanks so much for being a part of this. Look, we can ask you so many questions about your work, but I think let's focus on children. What is your message, not just to children, but to adults out there, telling them how important it is to be a part of this cause?
Well, what can I say? These are strange times, as all of us know, and I think all of us, in our own capacity, like that young kid who was an amazing painter, and each one who's got his core competence, I think, should contribute, should participate, and should try to pass on a message which is most important as of today, and especially children who are the future of this country. I think some means should be made so that we are able to protect them, take care of them, look at their future, and of course, basically also to feed them. So I think it's a great endeavor that you people have taken up. Yeah.
Well,
thank you very much.
If that wasn't a great way of ending this effort, let me tell you what might just be something as incredible. 5 crores, Prannoy. 5 crores. That's the total amount. The total amount. And Shobna Kamineni has bought Aro's painting for 2 lakhs. So 5 crores
the
in
painting's
total,
also gone for 2 lakhs.
Plus the painting of 2 lakhs which Shobna has picked up for Arav's painting. So 5 crores total. 5 crores on this program.
Beautiful.
And all of that goes to children, it goes to nutrition kits, it goes to hygiene kits. It'll make a difference in the lives of thousands. I'd like to thank all of you very much for being a part of this program.
Thank you.